And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Friday, January 6th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello everybody and welcome on a Friday. We are here to talk about Wilson Bank and Trust this morning. John McDearman joins us. We are graced with his presence today, the CEO of Wilson Bank and Trust. Good morning.
Coleman, I'm lucky to be here. Good to see you, as always.
Glad to have you. I like the shirt you have with the logo.
Got my brand on, it's
right,
what we do, right?
What's going on?
Well, we were talking yesterday about how Christmas and the holidays seemed like a long time ago now for us. Once you get into that January 2nd and 3rd and start rolling, there's a lot happening as you start implementing your plans you've been working on for the year for a while. So, but a good time to reflect back, and we did that yesterday, what we call our all officers meeting, and talk about, what went right for the year and what things probably we could have done differently, and kind of how it all turned out. But all in all, great year for the bank. Like a lot of noise in the economy, lots of different things happening there that are affect our industry as well as everybody else is already starting to. But we'll keep our eye on the ball. We'll keep listening to our customers and keep forging ahead. So that's our game plan.
Well, 2022 is not only a great year. You've had a lot of great years.
We've been so blessed.
Most all of them have been, if not great, pretty good.
They have, and we've always tried to be that. If you look at some of our competitors, and we've grown a lot over, obviously over the 35-year history, but slow and steady really describes us better than anything else. And it seems like with all the offices we have that it's been exponential, but it's really been just one at a time, getting one right and going to the next one, and that's really worked for us.
Well, I guess we all wondered a little bit about what life would be like after Randall and Elmer, and I don't think there's just different players, but you've stepped up, John Foster, and I don't think we missed a beat.
I would tell you that those guys specifically have just had great mentors, and when you build something that's grown to the size we have, you realize it's so not about one person or two people, but it's about 470 or 570 for us today. So, and we talked yesterday also in that meeting about, my goal for each one of our employees is that they feel, whether if physically they own stock or not, that they are owners in our company, because if you own something, you treat it much differently in all ways, and it's something you're just happen to show up and clock in and clock out with.
Well, I think your loans have been great.
They have.
You have a lot of customers, and you continue to expand your footprint in Middle Tennessee.
That's right. Word of mouth is still the key for us. All of our offices were still all organic growth. So I think it's several years ago when we opened in Williamson County, our first office, we had zero. We had some customers there from run over, from being in the surrounding counties, but virtually no customers, and to be able to build that into an office that has over $100 million in loans there now. So it really starts to take shape, and your reputation can really fuel that if you've worked hard to do it. And that's part of what we do. That.
Well, and we all think back, I don't know whether you do or not, but I do, to that little house over there had been something with Castle Heights, I think, and look what's there now.
Yeah, and that's something that's been meaningful to me too. Obviously, I was not there in '87. I was a junior in high school, but my dad, being a banker that you knew, he kept me up with the new local bank, and so I feel like I was in a little small way a part. And then, of course, I've been able to be a part for now. This year will be later in the year will be 25 years for me. So it's powerful for me too to think what happened, and the loyal customer and shareholder base. I just it blows you away, honestly. Just very blessed.
Well, I don't know what else we need to talk about. Loans the interest rates are a little bit higher than they were, but they're still very attractive to what some of us can remember.
Absolutely. I think that if you're building a house specifically, we're still doing that. There's some banks have really pulled back from construction lending, but if you're building a house, come see us. We still have rates that are very competitive, and still can make sense for you. The other thing that's really changed, Coleman, is the deposits. And it's nice to be able now, for all these years, deposit rates have been so low that you're able to offer your customers something that's meaningful to them for savings. So two things I'll mention today. Obviously, whether you're putting in an interest checking account or a money market, those are very, very short-term options. But if you're willing to tie your money up for 6 months, 3.50% APY, and for 14 months, 4.70 APY. So competition for deposits, and that becomes now part of your savings plan when you can earn, heck, almost 5% on a 14-month CD. So I would say come see us.
Well, without a doubt. All right.
I'll look for you later today, Coleman. Yeah.
Well, one of these days.
Yeah.
Not today. I've got my list for today, but that's something to think about. I'm serious.
It is, absolutely. I mean, it's meaningful impact, and it's fun to be able to pay those rates back out because we need that to continue to fuel our awesome growth.
Right. John McDermott, CEO, Wilson Bank and Trust. They're a member of FDIC, equal housing lender. They're still here, still independent, still committed to you. Excellence in banking since 1987. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Coleman.
Okay, we are 10 minutes after the hour here on a Friday morning, the first Friday in the month of January 2023. It is time for our Friday Senate report with Senator Mark Pody. Good morning.
Morning, Coleman. What a great day.
We are glad to have you with us again, and I see you're still in rare form.
Well, I am excited. But you know what? I brought a check in for you. John McDermott was talking about bringing a check, and I brought in a check for you. The Lions are still selling pecans, and we got a case of pecans. And I'm going to tell you, the Lions clubs do a wonderful job. We got a lot of good organizations, nonprofit organizations that are doing so much for the communities. And just a hat off to the Lions Club for the great work that they do.
Well, thank you for that. And if you will give me 30 seconds here, we got our pecans so late this year. It was after Thanksgiving when they came in. We've done a great job, but we haven't sold them all. And we're going to make a push here for today and the rest of this week and all of next week to hopefully get rid of a lot. Now, Wilson Bank sells more than anybody else because they've got 4 or 5 locations where they have them. I guess there's still a few at each location. If you don't find one at one particular one, go to the next one here in the Lebanon area, and you'll find some. The co-op, I'm going to take them another case today. They've sold a bunch for us this year, and Cedarstone Bank still has them. So does F&M Bank and First Southern Bank, and probably Pinnacle. I think they still do. I don't handle theirs, but we've had several. Roan Jewelry sold all of theirs. Cleanway Cleaners sold all of theirs. So
Coleman, you're quite the salesman. You're getting these things pushed out there.
And there's still some. I counted 16, I believe, yesterday at the Lebanon Senior Citizen Center. So there's still some available, but why don't you go ahead, if you don't need them right now, get them, put them in the freezer. They'll be good 6 months from now if you put them in the freezer. Okay. So so please help us out. Help us get rid of them. We don't want to carry over.
That's exactly right. But Coleman, it is a good cause that we're not only buying the pecans at a good price.
Yeah.
They do good cause.
Yeah, $12 for a pound bag. That's what
Yep. All right. But hey, I want to touch base before I get actually into the state. I want to talk about Congress for a minute. Normally, I don't want to get into the federal lanes or whatever, but I've had several calls about people, hey, what's going on? Can you help out in Congress, get a new speaker? But, Congress, we talk to the average person, they say it's broken anyway. and so the fact that they're not electing the speaker the very first week is not bad. If we look in history, if there's ever a time for them to kind of get things right, and some people have been elected, they say, we've got one shot to maybe get some concessions, to get some stuff right now. We're not worried about a government shutdown. There's nothing happening whether Congress is in force or not right now, whether they're actually trying to pass bills. Government's continuing going on. There's no government shutdown. This is the time that some people are saying, stop. Can we get a few things right? Can we maybe get a balanced budget concession that we have to get something done? And if we have to hold everything up for a few days until we can get some meaningful concessions in, that's not all bad. If there's a time to do it where this could be a time that we might see some real changes in Congress, I think they're going to get everything worked out the next day, and possibly even today right now. I know some of the concessions are being handed right now, but we don't have to worry that just because they haven't elected a speaker, this is all bad for everybody.
These concessions they're seeking, are they for the common good, really?
They
in
are.
your opinion?
Absolutely. If there's ever a time that we can get something done for us so that we have a runaway federal government brought back in control, they're trying to cut government down, cut size of government down, cut their spending down, not make government grow. How can we make sure that the border's secure? They've been talking about the border for decades, and they're trying to say, can we do something now to make a commitment before we go in that some of these things are high priority and they are going to be passed in the House. Whether they get through the Senate or not, I don't know. Whether they get through the president's desk or not, I don't know. But at least they're saying we want some real commitments to the American people that we're going to make some progress in Congress. You elected us in there, and you know, I'm not all upset that they haven't gotten that speaker yet. It's not hurting anybody here that Congress is not in force, and it could be actually helping us in the long run. So I don't want people to say, boy, we're blowing it in Congress. You know, some real concessions are looking at to be made right now.
Well, stay tuned.
That's exactly right. It might be worked out today, but we're ready to go into session in the state next week.
Yep. Well, the governor was on, they had him on TV last night talking about what you and I talked about the last time you were here, I guess, and I'm talking about roads and toll roads.
Yes. So I was actually, now I'm going to tell you, Mount Juliet, the mayor, James Manis, had called, and he said, we really want to go meet with the governor. So Representative Susan Lind, myself, you know, and we got with the governor's office staff, set up an appointment for the city of Mount Juliet to talk about the roads and things. And we had a meeting, and Mount Juliet did an outstanding job. Kenny Martin is always on top of his game. You know, and so James Manis brought some folks down. We met with the governor, and that was what the governor wanted to talk about as well, is how are we going to fund roads? And he had laid out some of the strategy that he has of saying we have to make some changes in how we fund roads. And he's talking about the choice lanes. And I've got to tell you, and he was talking to me, and he said, you know, we're going to need your vote and support to be doing this. And I'm open-minded on this. However, I am going to be very concerned if we go down the wrong path. Roads are something we're supposed to do in the state government. We are supposed to provide good roads. We've got over $4.5 billion of excess money right now that came in that we were not expected, over our budget. And I'd like to see some of this money spent on roads rather than increasing new fees and taxes. I'll be open to listening to all the things. I've not seen it written. These are just ideas. But right now, I want to make sure that state government is doing what they're supposed to be doing and not just adding new fees and new taxes in any way.
Senator Mark Pody is here. Our Friday Senate report will continue after this break. You're on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And at 7:17, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Absolute Kubota, they'll help you rent the right tool for the job. The Kubota Orange Rental Program makes it easy to rent the right equipment. Stop by Absolute Kubota, check out the U35 excavator or the SVL 75 compact track loader, 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic still moving right now on all the major interstate routes. A little bit of radar earlier on I-40 out through Dixon County into Kingston Springs. It's picking up with some traffic volume right now on 65 as we check it out live over here at OHB coming up through the Brentwood area. And it's building also I-40 out of Wilson County. Nash Painting, they service all of Middle Tennessee and they do a great job. Check them out at nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on a compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, the personal service you've depended on for 35 years is available wherever you are. Open an account today and have access to your personal checking or savings accounts 24/7 when you bank online or use our mobile app. With 21 different kinds of accounts available, our dedicated e-banking team makes opening online easy, safe, and convenient. To get started, visit wilsonbank.com. Wilson Bank and Trust, Middle Tennessee's community bank, member FDIC.
Good morning and welcome again. Coleman and Company, our Friday Senate report. Senator and I having a good, healthy conversation conversation here during the break.
Yes, and going back to the roads for just a second, and I've got to have an open mind. I don't want to say I will or won't vote for that until I hear all the facts, and that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to listen to everybody. I'll listen to all sides. I'm going to very much be listening to the constituents, whatever. And we're going back to having our advisory board again. That'll be starting in a couple of weeks, and I want to hear from people of saying we like this idea or we don't like this idea. But it's going to be until we get the details, and it's always in the details that really matters before I'm going to make up my mind whether we like it or not.
Well, what's happened? You were here sometime last month, probably about the second Monday last month, I believe. You were here for the singing plumber.
Yes, yes.
But and we talked about some of this. But what's actually taken place since the first of the year?
All right. So
did y'all met? Did you meet? Have you met at all yet?
We have not officially met. The Republican caucus met. Okay, so we kind of know that who our leadership's going to be. So when we go in, the very first day, which will be Tuesday, we'll be electing our speaker. We'll be Randy McNally. All the Republicans had agreed to that, and we're overwhelmingly a Republican state, so that'll go through. So we picked up all of our leadership positions. We know that'll go through very, very quickly. So we've hit some of that. Our bills are starting to get filed. And Coleman, I'm going to tell you this year, as a senator, it's unlimited bills. I don't have a number that I have to say I can't file more than X number. Like each House member has 15 that they have to stay within. I'm only going to file 25 bills. Which because I typically represent at least 3 different representatives, not everybody's going to get their bills that they're choosing. But I've got to tell you, I'm going to try and choose the best 25 bills and not do the 40, 50, 60 bills that we've done in the past. We don't need more laws. We need less laws, and I think by several senators are going to be taking that same stance. So we're believing we're going to have less bills filed this year than we've ever had.
As far as our state treasury, the money we have, we seem to be in good shape. Are we?
We are in excellent shape. And Coleman, I'm on here saying that we should be very concerned about our money. Now, I'm not opposed when we get like this extra $4.5 billion that came in sales tax. I mean, that brings the budget up. It's only good things that happen because of that. My concerns is how people want to spend that. And I want to either give it back to the taxpayers in tax refunds or such and reset our budget at a lower level, or put it in the rainy day fund or spend it on things like the roads. My concerns are whenever we have extra money that we've done year after year after year, we find new programs and new ways to spend that money rather than giving it back to the taxpayers. If our budget said we could do everything at this amount of money and we have extra money, that doesn't mean we need new programs. It means that we overcollected from the taxpayers, and we want to find a way to get that back to the taxpayers or put it in a rainy day fund and not spend it. And that's always been my concern, is when we spend this extra money that we get.
Well, I know you are aware of what I'm about to bring up here, and this has been something I think a lot of people in the Democrat Party have mentioned many times, more money for health care. And that we've got all this money here. We ought to be helping some of these people who are in dire straits health-wise. You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
What about that? Where? And I know maybe part of what you're going to say, well, if we ever open the barn door here, we never shut it again.
Yes.
So something similar.
So, and here's the deal. We want to make sure that there is a bottom line safety net. But it looks like what the Democrats want to do is do a health care for all, for everybody in every situation. And federal government was never set up, or the state government was never set up to say we are a health care organization. That was not the role of government. Government was to say, how are we going to do certain things and do those well? And one of those things is infrastructure and the roads. And it's going to be not for the government to solve every single problem in healthcare. And that is not what I'm advocating. I would rather say, let government solve the road problems. Let government solve the infrastructure problems. Let us do those kind of issues and not say we're going to be a health care for all. That is not something I'm supportive of. Even if we have this extra money, let's give it to back to the people, and they'll find ways that we can find ways to help them get their own health care, not through the state government.
You are, as of, I guess, last November, somewhat of a different constituency. Your boundaries have changed, in
Yes.
other words, the boundaries of your district. And what's happened as a result of that? I mean, you have the different people that you represented. You have a big part of Davidson County. How has that changed for you?
Okay, so in Davidson County, they actually run their county delegation much different than any other county delegation that I've been involved in. I've had 8 other counties that I've worked with. Davidson County, I'm the only Republican in that delegation, so it is totally 100% Democrats, and they strategize of what they're going to do, and they definitely have a feeling of Nashville and Davidson County against the state, and that is a mindset that they have, and they work on issues, for example, that's going to be focused on just how to get Davidson County better, where I want to try and say, how can we get the whole state moving better forward? And I'm a definite minority in that delegation. And we're going to be meeting again next week. They meet often, and they do strategize. They're what I could call and get my stuff done, like TDOT or roads issue. I have a much easier time in all the other counties I've ever been than we do in Davidson County. They've more politicized so many more things than what we would do like in Wilson County. We just want to get things done. We don't care who gets the credit. Let's just work together and get things done. I don't find that as much in Davidson County. So, but we're going to work together.
What are some of the real issues that need to be addressed there that would pertain to government solutions?
So in Davidson County, for example, we got the airport. Airport wants to expand, and which means that if we're going down by Murfreesboro Road, and this is all my district now, it means some of the road projects that TDOT had actually put out and was starting to work on, they're got to be canceled, redone, because if you expand the airport to make that runway longer, it affects obviously the roads and so forth, unless you want to try and go under the airport, and they've done that in the past, but it is so expensive to be doing some of those things. And we need a good quality airport, and we want to get a direct flight from here to Asia, which means it needs a longer runway. They're doing, in fact, when I was touring the airport, we got another tour coming up. They said we have kind of a little industry within Tennessee, and people fly into the airport into Nashville for legal opportunities. Attorneys come in to do depositions and such, and so the airport's making little conference rooms in there for them to fly in. They fly out the same day. I mean, it's just amazing to see how the airport works. But that's not something that we had in a lot of the other counties. So they're looking at funding that both on the federal, state, and local levels. They're also looking at the traffic is so horrible in Davidson County, what they can do to be looking at that. And the projects are so far behind in Davidson County. Now, I'm going to tell you, I don't mind us growing, but there's a time that we got to say, let's stop and get caught up on our infrastructure. Maybe we shouldn't be inviting as many companies to come in and paying them as what we're paying them until we can get caught up on our schools, until we can get caught up on our law enforcement. They're behind in law enforcement. Caught up on our housing a little bit before we continue to say, everybody and anybody come to Tennessee and here's some incentives to do it.
Are housing concerns a big thing with your constituents in Davidson County?
They absolutely are. I represent part of Antioch. One school has like 63 different languages in that school. How can you even picture that? So when I'm going, 63 different languages, 63 different languages. You can't do that. That doesn't even make logical sense to me on how we can do this. So perhaps we need to just take a reset for a moment. I'm not saying stop all the growth or anything, but I am saying, can we just catch our breath for a moment? Can we get caught up in Tennessee so we can continue to have Tennessee, one of the best states in the nation? When we are having some of these big companies come in or whatever, and we have these ribbon cuttings, they've got to get their employees somewhere, and a lot of people can't find help now. And it's almost an ongoing cycle, because that means new people are going to be moving in constantly. That means we need more congestion, more schools. I'm just saying, can we just slow down a tad? Can we catch our breath, get caught up before we continue to bring in the big companies?
You are at the Chamber of Commerce from time to time. Do you have a number of people nearly every time you're there to come and talk about issues with you?
I'll have a lot, like I'll be there today at 8 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
So the first Friday of every month, I'm at the chamber, and sometimes I'll have up to 40 or 50 people. Sometimes it'll be just me, and so you never know. It depends a lot of things of what's going on. Like, for example, I've had the last few meetings has been on the abortion bill that we did pass. And I've had doctors, I've had constituents sharing me, some are coming in saying, Mark, that's the best bill we've ever done. That's great. We're so proud of it. And others are saying, you know what, we've gone too far. And so I'm hearing from a lot of constituents on that bill itself. And I think that's going to be something that I know several people are filing bills to adjust it and take a look at it. I'm a very much of a pro-life person, so I study every single bill when it's going to come through to see which way is going to be best to save the life of children, of babies. So I'm always hoping. I've done this for 12 years now to hold these meetings, and it is one of the best ways for me to hear from people because nobody needs an appointment. You can just walk in anytime to talk to me.
And again, today, what time, 8?
8 o'clock. I'll be there from 8 to 9. And the chamber, now I'm going to tell you, the chamber does a great job. They are very open, welcoming, and they're very active here in Wilson County. We had a wonderful chamber. I know they got the chamber in Watertown, they got the chamber in Mount Juliet as well, and we got the Wilson County chamber right here. And they all do a good job in helping businesses, helping constituents, helping people get acclimated to the area.
All right. We'll look forward to your visit for the next several Fridays during the legislative session. Thanks for being with us today.
Coleman, this is the fastest 30 minutes in my life every single week.
Well, thank you. We'll see you next Friday. Senator Mark Bodie, that's part one of Coleman and Company. We've got more. Please keep it here, FM 98.9.
And at 7:29, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford, that regular oil change, $34.95 up to 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic still in pretty good shape right now. Coming down 65 out of Robertson County. It's building also in Sumner County on Vietnam Vets. Coming through Hendersonville. Watch for some radar. I-40 out here in parts of Wilson County this morning. Trying to clear up a couple of minor wrecks, including one over there at Rosa Parks near Kelly Smith Way that looked like a one-car crash. Nash Painting Services, all in Middle Tennessee. You can find out more information by logging on to nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are climbing through the 30s and 40s this morning, heading for a high of 51 degrees today. Skies will stay dry with mostly sunny skies. Temperatures do drop to 39 tonight, with rain chances arriving for the later part of Saturday. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm number one Ned.
Yeah, I was hoping. Oh, you still got your mustache?
Good morning and welcome to part two. I was not paying attention to the on-air like we're having a party here.
It's a Friday party. Always.
Well, I'm just enjoying the tales here, and I'm hearing from Miss Judy and Medina about how many people are saying don't make a move without us. I want to think they heard that. Most of them heard that here on the radio.
I think so. That's the most. That's where they heard it.
Well, good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Medina, it was your idea, right?
Yes, I said it, and MJ pointed at me and said, "There it is, right there."
How long ago was that? A year or so?
Probably
about
2
a year.
years,
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least about a year.
Well, anyway, let me say that these two, Judy Cox, Medina Himmentola, are two of the C&D team of Exit Rocky Top Realty, located at 1330 West Main in Lebanon. Great people, great service, people you can trust, which is another good line, I think. But I don't know whether we can come up with something better than don't make a move without us.
I know.
That was good.
It's pretty good.
Well, here we are, first Friday in 2023.
Can you believe it?
You're already back at work, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you didn't even slow down much.
Not a lot, because we had a lot of people come in during the holidays to visit people And we had two people that said, we think we're just going to come back here. They came back. They used to be here, and they came back to visit family. So that's a good time when they're visiting. Then after they eat and they all visit with each other, then they're just sitting around, and especially the women, they're like, oh, they're watching the ball games, so let's go look at some homes.
Oh.
So here we go. So it's holidays are different for us. We have to kind of work around our schedules with other people's schedules. So.
Well, you got a soapbox to get on this morning?
Well, I just wanted to, something that might help a lot is during
Yes, she does.
I hope.
Yes, always.
Well, during the holidays with all the frozen pipes and everything that we saw a lot of problems that happened that we have to go help take care of. But a lot of people don't realize the things you need to be looking for now, even though the weather's nice and everything's thought out. Is if you can't crawl under your house, get your grandson or somebody to crawl under there and take a flashlight and just look around and make sure you don't have any pipes dripping. A lot of people still got some little pinholes in their pipes that they don't know about, and it's starting to drip. We're getting these calls now. That's how we know. And check your water heater, because a lot of people, they don't ever look at their water heater unless they turn on the faucet and don't have any hot water.
Yeah.
So look at the pipe. Some of those pipes have... we had some people, their pipes to the hot water heater froze, and they thawed out, but then it's made damage to the pipe. So look and make sure you don't have a pinhole dripping somewhere, and have the house quiet so you can hear if there's a little sound of some air escaping. Mm-hmm. So check that out. And a lot of times that pipe gets rusty and you don't know it either. And you got a drip, and that's what that pan's for. And a lot of people, if you got an older water heater, you probably don't have the pan underneath it. That's going to help you if it starts dripping before it hits the floor. And then also check the back of your commode, that little pipe that runs from the floor to the back of the commode. Nobody ever checks that. And a lot of times we've had some that they just dry rot a lot of times, and they'll get loose and pop off. And what happens is the water that's supposed to be going up in the back of the commode is going to keep running. And we've had two houses lately that flooded their bathroom and their bedroom from the little pipe coming off the back of the commode. And it's not dripping. You don't hear it. It gets old and it gets dried out and it just pops off. And I'm not a plumber by any means, but we see the damage of what's happening. So get a plumber and get them out there, check, or you start looking and look under your sink. We had a lot of garbage disposals that started leaking. Things happen when the temperature gets that cold, even though you had heat on. Things happen that don't normally happen to your water supplies and stuff. So check that out because we've had a lot of water damage in this area that people are still cleaning up after. We've had apartments, nursing homes, and a lot of stuff. So, and it's been across the state like that. So check some of your water flow into your house.
Well,
So
some great advice there. Really, we laugh a lot about a lot of things here, but that's some serious things to consider.
Because
really.
we see the results of it. Like I say, we're not plumbers by any means, but we do see the results. So check it before you have to call us.
Medina, I believe it's your turn.
Yes, sir. I wanted to talk about some listings, and we have under contract the 192 Haley Road in Watertown, the 81 acres of the farm. We have that under contract, and then the house in Murfreesboro at 1604 Magnolia. We have that under contract. So the year has started off great so far. So that's under contract. And then some other listings that we wanted to still talk about is we have the listing at 2070 Old Murfreesboro Road west. And it is sitting on 5 acres, and it's with a house and 2 shops, which used to be an auto mechanic shop, and also a detached garage. It also was a mechanic type of shop, or you could use it as a garage. But it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, right under 2,000 square feet, and it backs up to the Dayton Freight off of Hartman and Old Murfreesboro Road. And so it could be commercial property, or it could stay as it is, but commercial is around it. But it would be a great place for someone if they had trucks, if they worked on mechanic, trucks and everything of that nature. that's a perfect place to live and have your workshop in your backyard if you wanted to do that. But it is listed at $649. It's just been reduced $50,000, so it's $649.9. And then we have another one on Woodside Drive, which is Colonial Village, right off of West Main and Old Hickory Road. Hickory Ridge Road.
Yeah.
And Woodside Drive. And that one is 4 bedrooms and 2.5 baths. And it's right over 2,000 square feet with a private fenced-in backyard. And it is right there on the main of Woodside Drive. And, Colonial Village is a great place to live because it has a HOA, but it takes care of everything. It's not a high HOA at all, but it takes care of the sidewalks and the pool and the clubhouse and everything of that nature. But it is listed at $424.9, and it's just been reduced as well. So if you're looking for, and it's a 2-level, so if you're looking for a nice, and it's 5 years old, 2-level home, Woodside Drive in Colonial Village in town, or you're looking off of getting a little bit out and having some acreage, then Old Murfreesboro Road and Hartman Drive is a good place to be. So anything else, if you're looking and you see a house for sale, but our sign's not in the yard, give us a call, and we'd be still glad to help you with that. And if you're thinking about selling and you don't know what your house is worth, give us a call. We went out yesterday on a house to tell her what we thought, and so she's thinking about putting her house on the market.
Yeah. All right. Some good advice on both sides of the table here this morning. Good to see y'all. Good to get 2023 off and underway here, and look forward to having you with us every Friday. Don't do that.
I like your mustache. It's pretty. I really like it.
Well, I could tell a story here. Maybe I should. I don't embarrass my wife, but let's just say she didn't like the beard. When it got cold the other Friday, I didn't shave that day, and I went about 8 or 10 days. And
It looks nice.
Well, I like the
that's what you
mustache. It
said.
looks nice.
That's what MJ said.
It makes you look distinguished.
But, well, anyway, y'all have a great week. We'll do it again next Friday.
And remember, don't make a move without us.
Absolutely. Don't make a move without us. C&D team, Exit Rocky Top Realty, Judy Cox, Medina Hemmentaler, thank you very much. 20 minutes before the hour, I have invited Aaron Maynard to be my guest this morning. Aaron is our county finance director, and we don't have him here often enough, honestly. I guess, Aaron, good morning, first of all.
Sir. How are you?
It is really good to see you today. With the mayor once a month and Mike Jennings once a month, I guess I just don't have your name on my list where it glares out at me too often. But it is always nice to have you when you come, and I appreciate you taking time to be with us today.
I appreciate you having me. Between the mayor and County Attorney Jennings, I think you probably have it covered, but I'm always glad to
let
be
me
here.
put in a plug for your mother and daddy over at Cleanway Cleaners.
Yes,
we
sir.
were talking about pecans earlier. Every year that I have been taking a box of pecans to Jimmy Maynard at Cleanway Cleaners, he has sold the whole box. And all I have to do is drop it off and go back 3 or 4 weeks later and pick up a check. And the same thing happened this year. And I think he's got about all the business that he really wants to take care of. But they've been in business for so long. I remember Raleigh Green years ago.
Absolutely.
I think he had that. And you might have been a little baby at that time, or might have even been before your time.
No, sir. I was 16 years old when they bought that business.
Okay, well, they've done a great job, and your mother and daddy are really good people. Your mother was an excellent basketball player at Lebanon High School. I remember her.
I've heard the stories.
Yeah, and your daddy is really a fine person, no question. And I appreciate them doing that. While you're here, just remind him, give him a little plug. Why not?
I appreciate that.
A big thank you. But you probably know more about the fiscal standing of the county, being finance director, than anybody else. And no doubt, the people who are county commissioners come to you to, can we do this? Can we afford this? Where do we stand? So you pretty much got to know the bottom line all the time, haven't you?
We certainly have those conversations quite often. Different ones come to me and they want, they want to talk about different things. And I'm privileged to be in that spot, so it's a pleasure.
Well, where are we right now? are we in pretty good shape financially with somewhat of a rainy day fund and so on?
We are. I mean, we're truly, I would say, probably the strongest that we've ever been. We have, a general fund, which would also be referred to as a rainy day fund, is higher than it's ever been. Some of that comes about because of things we're all familiar with now that we weren't familiar with a couple of years ago. These things called supply chain shortages, where people had money budgeted to be spent, but they couldn't get the product to spend it. So it's stuff they still need, but in the meantime, it's landed in the fund balance or the rainy day fund. So, but overall, sales tax is up and stronger than it's ever been. What's going on with development, although that appears to have slowed down some.
Well, let me ask this, and we'll go to a break. We depend on property tax. We also depend on sales tax revenue. Which one of them is the largest?
Definitely property tax.
All right.
Yeah, property tax is the bigger number, but we definitely depend on sales tax. That primarily goes to fund education for us. The other part goes to the cities to fund the cities. Generally speaking, we do get a piece of property tax, but the two biggest pieces wind up with the school system and the cities.
And as far as the sales tax, if it's all in Wilson County where the purchase is made, I guess the county gets all of that, right?
Well, by law, the first half goes to education.
Oh, okay.
So wherever the sale takes place, the first half goes to education. The second half goes back to the jurisdiction where the sale took place. So what's been a big boost for us has been internet retailers now have to remit tax. And so they remit it based on where the product is ultimately shipped to. So they're able to track now that a lot of these sales are actually taking place out in the county. So we're seeing a big boost in sales tax collections in what we call the Rural Debt Service Fund.
I did not know that.
Yes, sir.
That's how they do. Oh, I knew at some point in fairly not too long ago, we had to start paying sales tax on anything you purchased on the internet. But I didn't understand that wherever that goes to.
Correct, sir. Yes, sir.
Wherever, if that's in Wilson County, the county gets it. If it's in Lebanon gets it, or Mount Juliet or Watertown.
Correct, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Aaron Maynard is my guest. We're going to take a break right here. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's 7:46. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank our friends at Bates Ford. Get a battery installed on most vehicles. $134.95. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. We have watched traffic pick up quite a bit up through the Hickory Hollow area on 24 westbound. All that traffic flow coming in from Rutherford County up through that section of Davidson County. Wilson County traffic's been in pretty good shape so far out through the Mount Juliet area, with the exception now lots of radar in Wilson and Dixon County this morning. Hey, Nash Painting services all of Middle Tennessee. You can find them online right now at nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
The regular season finale for the Titans means everything. This Saturday night from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. Titans, Jaguars. The winner takes home the AFC South Division title. Titans countdown happens at 6.
Brought to you by Bakes and Hooker, Bates Ford, Steve Mall Plumbing, the Jewelers, and the City of Lebanon Gas in Tennessee. 811, call before you dig.
This is Wilson County's home for real country music and the Tennessee Titans. Real Country 98.9.
Happy New Year.
It's a brand new year, brand new goals, new hopes, new beginnings.
We are here to get you going in the right direction if you're ready to buy or sell a home.
No charge, no hassle, just 44 years of hands-on experience when you call us.
That's why you don't want to make a move without us in 2023. Happy New Year.
Call Judy Cox or Medina Himmentoller at Exit Rocky Top Realty, C&D Team, 443-3130.
Happy New Year.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us. Again, Aaron Maynard, our finance director for Wilson County, is with us this morning. And how many people do you have a staff? Of course, you can't do it all by yourself.
Yes, sir.
Has that grown much or any since you took over?
No, sir. We're operating with basically the same, maybe one more. We may have one more person, which now we've shifted that from a full-time to part-time for the time being. So really we are right at the same as what we
Are you adequately staffed?
I could use more, but it's I always want to be sure that I have people busy, and so I feel like everybody's as busy as they need to be, not overwhelmed, but certainly not coming in on any given day wondering what it is they're going to be doing. We're okay.
You enjoy your job?
I love it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, you were with it's a long name,
Dempsey, Van Treese, and Paulus.
right? And had to make a decision when the opportunity presented itself. How long ago has that been?
That has been 11 years ago. I'm going on 12.
Can't believe it's been that long. But
Yeah.
But you made the change, and evidently you have satisfied the people who hired you because you're still there.
I hope so. Certainly, I could count so many of the commissioners who have passed through there, not only as people that I've worked with, but as friends of mine. And it's been a pleasure to work with the vast majority of them. I won't name any of them that it hasn't been a pleasure to work with.
Well, what are the? How would you do a job description for those who? And I'm not sure I know everything you do, but as finance director, you pretty much have charge of and advise about the purse strings of the county. And how can you define that a little better?
It's a little difficult, but I'd say the most important thing for people's that people would consider would be, you have complete responsibility for putting together the county's budget, and so a big part of that is projecting the revenues that are going to come in the upcoming year. So, you start with what your growth in your revenue is going to be, in property tax in particular, or if there's, in other cases, if you're looking and you're seeing a trend that may indicate there's going to be a decline. And then you take a look at the needs coming in from the various departments, and along with the budget committee, you decide, or you're a part of deciding what can be funded that's being asked for, what can't be funded, and, what the impact is at the end of the day. Is our rainy day fund going to take a big hit, or is it we're going to be able to add a little bit to it, or we're going to basically break even? I mean, that's probably the biggest part of the job, and then the ongoing monitoring of this is what we anticipated the results were going to be. Now what are the actual results? Mm-hmm. The ongoing monitoring and determining are we about where we should have been, and then there's the whole putting together of the financial statements and going through the audit process and so on and so forth. So,
how closely do you work with the trustee and the property assessor? I mean, they are necessary offices. Obviously, the property has to be assessed. The trustee's got to collect the taxes, and
Yes.
you've got to know what's going on at least a little bit.
Yeah, we work with both groups, not on a daily basis necessarily. Probably, if I was going to say we work with one more than the other, we work with the trustee, because ultimately, all the money gets deposited with the trustee. That ultimately has to become a part of the books and records of the county. So we have to incorporate that into our accounting system. But certainly, the most popular person in the county around April, May timeframe is the property assessor. Everybody trying to figure out how much growth we have. So we certainly work with both of them a great deal. If we work with one more than the other, it would be the trustee's office.
We've, if you go down 840, and of course you get to the raceway, we built a sewer line down there and water line, I guess, and it seems that has resulted in a lot of growth. Those warehouses, the other businesses that are there. How valuable is that? And was that really a great move when that was done as far as the county goes? And it might be two ways of thinking on that. I don't know, but it seems to me that has helped a lot.
I think it has. I think it's helped a lot. I think it was a great move. Certainly there was a time when maybe it didn't look so great, when the Speedway was not functioning, and because I remember when the Speedway first come in, and I wasn't in county government at the time, but I remember, everybody, there was this mad rush to acquire property. Property around the Speedway became very valuable because there was the idea that there was going to be a lot of build up around it, which sort of just didn't happen at that time. But I think we're going to see the fruits of it, or we've seen the fruits of it since, and probably will continue to see it.
You must keep an eye on that sort of thing and on growth, anticipating what's going to be maybe additional revenue funding for the county in time to come.
Sure.
So how important is that, and how the growth? I mean, we can't grow too fast, I think, and I wonder if there's the big question out there is are we're gonna get too much that we can't take care of, and sometimes I wonder if we've not already reached that point. Seems like we can't hardly build schools fast enough, but all of that has got to be on your mind as finance director.
Yes, sir. And, there's a lot of complicated issues behind what you're speaking about. I mean, so you've got somebody who's lived here for 50 years who owns 100 acres. I'm obviously making up a scenario. Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, that person has a right to sell their property for what they can get for it.
Right.
And there's usually a certain amount of homes that can be built on that property, whether it's rezoned or not. I'm sort of digressing for a moment. So let me just say, the whole idea of stopping growth, I don't even think is possible. Okay, I'm not even going to start with the assumption that we could stop growth if we wanted to.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Certainly, growth comes with a unique set of challenges. It's been what I've tried to explain to people, and I've had presentations. I've given presentations where I've tried to explain this. With growth comes additional students, comes additional classrooms, comes additional teachers, comes additional patrol officers, corrections officers, you name it. Maybe additional staff from my office, additional property assessor people. Growth more or less pays for what is necessary to serve the increased population, with the notable exception of the infrastructure, which I believe Mr. Pody was speaking of earlier. Mm-hmm. Growth is great for the teachers that I need and for the patrol officers that I need, et cetera. But it doesn't really do a whole lot for the $100 million or $50 million school I have to build. That's where there's a disconnect, because people look and they think, well, with all this growth, we must have plenty of money to do everything that we need to do. And I can promise you and have no problem demonstrating that that's not the case.
Well, I know that this last year we were kind of between a rock and a hard place, and especially with WEMA wanting more pay, for they had employees who were leaving. I guess the grass was greener on the other side somewhere.
Sure.
And the county did step up almost immediately there with some additional money. And then I believe when the budget was passed, raises were given pretty much, especially with our emergency people. And you wonder, I mean, that's almost a necessity to maintain employees and to keep things going. If that continues to happen, that's some problems we got to deal with.
It is, and we are addressing those problems now in terms of looking at what does a graduated pay scale look like for county employees. We've never had a graduated pay scale. What does that look like? So that's in the process of being looked at now. That doesn't, by the way, that doesn't change the whole picture when it comes to market shifts like we saw with what happened to the emergency management employees that you're talking about. I mean, literally overnight, their value increased tremendously. Mm-hmm. It wasn't something we were doing a pay study every 3 years trying to see if we were competitive or not. Well, toward the end of that 3-year cycle. So just because we put in a graduated pay scale doesn't necessarily mean that graduated pay scale is always going to be a market rate, but hopefully it'll keep us closer, and it'll also make employees feel better if they're getting raises on a fairly regular basis.
Any
big challenges you think we're going to be facing, and I guess especially in the next budget 2023 is going to bring, or the budget for the next fiscal year?
I don't know about the immediate upcoming budget. I have said, and I believe we started this by talking about, we've never been in a stronger financial condition. We've also never had more. What's the right word? We've never had more needs probably on us at the same time either. I think the number that the school system has put forward in terms of buildings that they'll need is $450 million or something like that, supposedly in a 5-year period. Do I think that's going to happen exactly in a 5-year period? I don't know. But I mean, as it becomes absolutely necessary to build those schools, I feel like the county commission will step up and build them. But I mean, there's always the good and the bad. The good is that we've managed to build a fund balance, which at one point was non-existent. My second year here, when we got ready to adopt the budget, we had a fund balance for the general fund of $100,000. Okay. Today, that number is $20 million. Okay, so we've come a long way, and that's needed for us to do things we want to do, like get a AAA bond rating, which is the highest that you can get. And so we've made progress. We've done a lot of good things under the leadership of Mayor Hutto and the county commissioners that have been here. But there are certainly challenges facing us down the line in terms of growth. I know everybody has their own opinion on growth and what they would like to do, but growth is not something that's going away.
We got 40 seconds, and I just got to mention, you're wearing a Vanderbilt shirt today, and I know you've been a Chicago Cub fan. Now the former Vanderbilt shortstop who was with the Braves signed this big contract for the Cubs. That make you happy?
It does. Yeah. Anytime.
Dansby Swanson.
Yes, Dansby Swanson. Anytime that my Commodores can play for one of the other teams that I like, the Cubs. First off, I just like to see them there. Yeah. It's great. It's great to see them there. If you're not a Vanderbilt fan, you probably have real trouble understanding how our mindset works. But I'm thrilled for Dansby for sure.
Hey, Aaron, thanks so much for being with us. I appreciate it. I hope it won't be too long, and I'll have you back.
I appreciate you having me, sir. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's it for Friday. Have a nice weekend, everybody. And until Monday, I wish you a fantastic day.